Hey everybody. Right now, we are going to get started playing Dolmenwood. Our characters had just arrived in Lankshorn, and they have just spent their first night in this village that they came to kind of talk to a very famous blacksmith that they had done some business with, and are waiting for the next full moon for his enchantments to be completed that they had purchased from him. They had gone and stayed, grabbed a drink at one of the taverns in Lankshorn, and came across an agent of Madame Shantywood who was sort of tailing them, it would seem. And there was a little bit of a confrontation with the Grimalkin proprietor of that tavern and this individual. And the group learned that the proprietor of that tavern had some old grievances with Madame Shantywood. And so the group eventually went back. They did make contact with this agent. I believe his name was Sirtel, and he was staying at the same inn that they had checked into for lodging at the Hornstoats Rest. So you went back there, talked with him just a little bit, and learned that he had a job that he needed to complete and hasn't done such a good job at it. What he told you is that he works for Madame Shantywood, who wants to build a little bit of a relationship with the Berkmaster of Lankshorn, whose name is Berkmaster Clwyd Baldric. And one of the rumors that this Sirtel had heard about the Berkmaster is that he might be keeping someone or something up in his attic, and Madame Shantywood wants to know what that is. So the play for him was that he was supposed to curry a bit of favor with the Berkmaster by maybe doing some jobs for him, becoming a trusted hand, and maybe making his way into like learning what his secrets are. He has failed to do so, and it would seem that the Berkmaster is distrustful of Sirtel. You all are mutually associated by Madame Shantywood, and so he has passed an offer to you that he would, I believe it was 500 gold pieces, that he would pay you. You're assuming this is some percentage of the cut that he was originally supposed to get for completing the job, and it sounded like you were interested. This is kind of the last thing. You were maybe going to sleep on it, and we're going to pick up on the morning of the 28th of Chisting, in which you would be coming down into the common room, maybe getting a bit of breakfast and such for yourselves, and maybe talking over what your plans are for the day. I guess maybe to get started here and just kind of realign ourselves, maybe we can all just do some character introductions and tell us a little bit about what's top of mind for your character. And maybe I'll do this in such an order that we end on the Friar, since since Issac, the player, was unavailable in the last session. We can end with kind of maybe some new thoughts that are happening for him. So why don't we start with Moreen?
Hi, I'm Maureen Carvian, and I am playing Lillibeth. Lillibeth is a hunter. She met this entire crew as we all met each other in prison, and I didn't really know them. And now, what's top of mind for me, surprisingly, is I was really unnerved by being separated from them, which happened. And I wasn't sure whether they would ever come back. So what's top of mind for me is making sure A, that doesn't happen again if we can help it, and B, really, really trying to figure out long term how that plays into what was originally my plan, which was to get away from them and live elsewhere. And so this is one step on that path.
All right, let's check in with Sir Geoffrey.
Yeah, Ryan Garthok here, playing Sir Geoffrey, and I think Sir Geoffrey is he's been through a lot, and now that he's kind of getting his bearings again, and this sort of opportunity has come up to continue this relationship with the Madame Shantywood. He's kind of considering it, like, not that he's not a knight or isn't noble anymore, but I think he's sort of falling into this sort of knight without a house, Ronin thing, and those are sort of his thoughts as he's kind of waking up this morning.
Awesome. Let's check in with Chris playing Thomas the Minstrel.
Hello, I'm Chris. I'm playing Thomas Mournspire, the 7th. He is a minstrel. Sorry. Probably what is most on his mind right now, Thomas tends to be, I guess, a little more conspiratorial minded than maybe his companions, but that we are kind of far away from Madame Shantywood. This guy found us and everything. He prides himself kind of on being his own man, but he's trying to kind of figure out what, how it is that she is exactly keeping tabs on us, and how many people have we run across that maybe were plants of hers and kind of moving us in a direction that she wants and things like that. So he's working through that type of thinking.
Awesome. Let's head on over to Winston.
Yeah, I'm Winston. I'm playing Silver Upon His Brow, an elf. I'm level 1 and just a little baby elf. I think I'm 100 and something years old. I've forgotten off the top of my head now. I think 170. But an elf world, a fairy world, that's fairly young. And so I am just really kind of for the very first time having left the world of fairy. And I have primarily left because my home was basically destroyed by the Naglord. But really, I wanted to get out of a rut. And so I completed my very first chapter of my epic poem, which is Winter's Daughter. So kind of pinned that experience off of Sir Geoffrey's love. I would say like star-crossed lover experience, but really it was like a one person with their crossed stars. His attempt to fall in love with the elven maiden. So that was sort of the first chapter in our adventure. And really, I'm just looking forward to the next. And my interest is doing something that's epic, that's worthy of putting down into a story, a poem. And so I'm willing to go along with this sort of political like intrigue component that's happening. Could turn into something interesting, but really my heart is with the vision that we got from the Dolmen Stones. I believe it was the Cold Prince's castle, or at least it's in that sort of domain. And I really want to go explore that and see what secrets we discover. But for the time being, I'm interested in paying attention to the intrigue, but longing for adventure.
And then last but not least, let's hear from Isaac and the Good Friar.
Hello, I'm playing Father or Friar Stephen Fitzpatrick. He's a Friar level 2 human. The Friar recently, after coming back from our last adventure, took some time to visit the local church and visit the father there. And he had a bit of time first off, he got kind of scolded a bit from hanging out with an elf, but either that's neither here nor there. He kind of had a bit of time to kind of reflect on the adventures and whatnot that had happened and what they've gone through. And his whole thing right off the bat was he left his family to, and even like the church structure, to go off and preach like the good word, try to bring like this good message to the people. And he kind of looks down on that whole structure thing. But I think he found himself as he kind of meditated a bit. He kind of thought about these adventures that the group had been doing, and there's been some adventures where we've left people not necessarily better than we met them in some cases. So I think that is starting to weigh a bit heavy on his heart. He's realized that though he has made a vow of poverty, maybe money has kind of whittled its way into kind of one of his goals that he really doesn't like. So I think he's coming back to the group with the mindset that maybe we need to not necessarily stop trying to make money, but just do it in a way where we're able to help people. We're able to help people while we're doing it.
So a lot of differing thoughts and different values that amongst the group. They're all bonded by their friendships that they've developed as they've come here, but there might be some different thoughts coming into this, the first floor of the Hornstoat's Rest, as you are gathering up, maybe preparing to discuss with one another what your plan is for the day. You are being treated to some breakfast by Marjorie Stallowmaid, who operates this inn. There is a table laid out with enough seats for you all, kind of like long benches on a wooden table, and there's some muffins and kind of different breads and spreads for them, marmalade and butter and things like that. Bowl of fruit for you to stuff your faces before you maybe head out. Also, amongst there's not really too many people here other than her, but there is one familiar person. Sir Tell is still here, a man who he's got a bit of a like noble air about him, just like the way he talks. He's got a vocabulary that you wouldn't hear the common folk use, and he is currently, it looks like, playing a game of chess with an older gentleman. Very gangly looking man with long white hair, kind of a hawkish nose. He's got half moon spectacles that he is kind of continually adjusting as he engages in conversation with Sirtel, and then refocusing his attention on the game. And the two of them just seem to be having some small talk. Sirtel will give maybe a salute or a wave hello as you guys are coming down for breakfast.
Give him a wave back. You like motion him over to come get some breakfast.
And he kind of holds up his hand to signal pause to his opponent here, and he says, "Farnham, perhaps this can wait till just a little bit later. I have some business to attend to with these folks over here." And the old man says, "Oh, sure. It's always that way when I'm up, and well, giving me more time to plot out my next few moves." And Sirtel comes over to you all and he says, "Well, have you given it some thought?"
I look at Geoffrey as like the de facto Sir Silas replacement. Actually, I don't know Sir Silas. Never mind. I'd say, well, I hate to speak for the rest of us, but I think we're interested.
I certainly, after giving it a night's thought, am. But perhaps we should convene with the group and discuss it further. I know my brother is just coming back from the church, and I want to see how his weekend was before we get down to business.
Business? What are we interested in? Hello.
Oh, I guess we should probably loop you in. Well,
So maybe for the sake of not having all of our
Yeah.
time be a recap, we can assume that you've got all that information. You probably
Sure.
would have talked about it like last night. Sirtel would just say, "Well, my fee is what I can provide you, 500 gold pieces for information. I would leave it to you as to how you think that be best accomplished. You know, my idea, I don't know. Looking at the five of you, I don't get the sense that you are necessarily second story folk, that you would be able to break in there. I think it might be better long term if we can curry relationship with this Berkmaster, and certainly he has no shortage of problems that befall his seat as ruler of this town. Perhaps there's some business that you can take care of with him, for him, and start to build some rapport that you might be able to start plying him with questions, or just taking a look around his manor. You might see something that might be useful to our benefactor."
And the
Well-
biggest thing that this person's interested in is these rumors that there's somebody or something being held on the second floor.
Yes.
Right? Gotcha.
So I'd like a point of clarification. You keep using the term our benefactor. I think we've established that you may have a benefactor and we're willing to work with you. But calling her our benefactor is a bit of a stretch and might get us a really bad breakfast.
Well, I have no problem taking full credit for anything that you may get him to divulge. I thought it was I have no problem with that.
Guess I probably should have asked you guys. I'm hoping you guys don't have any problem.
well, so Lillibeth, just to give you some insight and kind of, you're a woodsy person. You're out hunting and you deal in very practical life and death, survival kind of context where creatures are forthright with their intentions, and maybe there's lures and traps, but they're, honest creatures. I've discovered that courtly intrigue, not so honest. And sometimes it's good to sort of have a few feints going on and a few, hey, for lack of a better phrase, fingers in several different pies, you know? So I think maybe we need to think carefully about how we interact, because I think if we give away all the credit, sure, we're covered, but also we lose an in that we may want to later leverage.
Oh, dear me. Of course, how could I possibly forget I am this wild child of the forest? I've never been caught, but you do have a
I would
I
assume that
apologize.
Madame Shanty would, if she, has agents here and is aware of us here as well, that she, no matter how beguiling a story that may be told, she would still probably be aware of our involvement anyway. So, if we're going to be involved, we might as well own any actions that we take, and only take actions that we maybe wouldn't be ashamed of. If this is something we would be ashamed of, maybe we should think twice about doing it.
Sirtel is
ashamed.
probably like nodding along with what you're saying. He's like, I'm probably being watched myself. True.
I'm not ashamed of it. It's just that I know we will get a really bad breakfast. So there's my practical side coming out. So if our innkeeper decides that we are with you,
Oh.
Now, just so you are understanding, this is a different location. Like, the inn
Oh,
is different than the
sorry.
tavern. So the Grimmelkin does not own this place. If
Mm.
that was the implication there.
that was the implication. It skipped my mind while I was sleeping.
No worries. But I still think you have the right attitude. Openly discussing a connection is not what we want to be doing. I'm saying this in a whisper. It's not what we want to be doing. So I agree with you, and I'm picking up on your game now, Lillibeth, and I apologize for underestimating you.
Thank you. I appreciate the apology.
And I guess the question goes now that we're on the topic. I mean, do we want to do it, guys? We've had the night to think about it. What do we think? We could give Sirtel an answer, and we could start talking strategy if that is going to be our next play.
I'm all for taking part in this, but Sirtel, explain again what the rumors are that the Berkmaster is having issues with. Did you not say there was a particular job in question?
The job that I have heard of is that he, on the down low, has often been looking for people to deliver materials of some kind out into the woods. My understanding is these things are fairly ordinary foodstuffs and supplies and such, but nothing that on its own seems strange. The strange part is why he wants to keep this such a secret. I had myself tried to inquire about this, and I just got the feeling that the Berkmaster suggested he had no idea what I was talking about. And I went a little too strong at him, I'm afraid, and he's a little bit distrustful of me.
So we definitely do not want to do the same approach.
Not going
Won't be
to
seen with you.
going to
Or-
lie. I sort
right.
of wonder if we could just kind of sort of get in there and see. We do have a hunter with us. She has got certain skills that may help us with that, or we could create a distraction or something. If we just need to find out what is upstairs, that the long game is making friends, and let's face it, folks, not our best suit, not my best suit at least. But getting into rooms, now that's something we know how to do,
Well,
and much quicker if we want to get out of town sooner or move
Thinking
on.
back to the time where we tried to break down the door with an axe and continually failed repeatedly, and thinking back and like associating, are we good at getting into rooms?
Maybe we're not.
I would say my skills are far less useful in a building than they are out in the wild. So I wouldn't say that is our strong suit.
So Sirtel would probably also say finding and identifying what he has is but one piece of it. Whatever it is must be scandalous, otherwise he wouldn't be hiding it. The relationship that you build with this Berkmaster may be equally useful to our benefactor, my benefactor.
I'm curious if he's hiding it.
She wants leverage on the Berkmeister so she can have a political pull in town. So she has a pawn.
Yes.
So yeah, she needs collateral.
But maybe there's something more, and I'm really curious. So I'll say it up front. I'm very curious. I want to find out what's going on too. And I want to find out because maybe it's something that will help us figure out what we're going to do from now on, instead of going from town to town and failing to succeed to break down doors.
Friend, we haven't met, right? But I mean, we just met, but can you tell us the fact that you're working for Shantywood? What leverage does she have on you? Is she holding your baby hostage? Why are you working for? Like, what is happening? Why are you working for Shantywood?
Look, clearly this line of work is beneath me, but she doesn't have leverage on me. She holds promise of opportunity for me. I am on the outs with my family. I come from House Thistlebrook, and I was caught in a romantic tryst, let's say, with one of the house maidens from a rival house. I brought shame to my house, and I'm on the outs, and I have basically been left to forfeit my lands and my inheritance. Madam Shantywood has promised to me that I might be able to find avenues back into the good graces of my father and my family if but I do some work with her, and there you have it.
Right.
The child is not mine, but
The kid is not your son?
What? Of what? I mean,
You don't always have to know everybody's pain and story, backstory. You know,
I do
no
because
distrustful.
my point is she has no leverage over us now. Why are we still working with her? Is what I'm saying.
Because we've got nothing better to do. What are we going to do, brother?
Relax. Take it easy. Oh, I mean, I do have a place I'd like to go. No one asked.
I guess that's a good point.
I understand that you have business and we're helping. I was trying to find a glimpse of maybe hope that we needed to help you, sir, is what I'm doing. I was hoping you'd pull on my heartstrings a bit, but
not so much.
I mean, I feel bad for you. You can hang out with us if you'd like, but
Well, we're hanging out now, and I could say that my experiences with Madam Shantywood have been that she has been supportive and has offered everything that she has promised me has come true. She honors her bargains.
Whatever she thinks her bargains are, I would have to agree with that.
I mean, my brother does have a good point. The last time we, worked with her, we worked with her because she put our friend inside of a gemstone, which is, not the best of terms to convince somebody to work with them. But I just think that, I've had some time to reframe some things out here in the Dolmenwood, and things are just different out here than they are out there, and I think this is just as good a way to make a dime as the next thing. What do you think?
I will go with the group. Whatever you decide, it seems like you have already decided. I just think we should make sure that there's no collateral damage. We need to be doing good things, and I don't know if any good will come of this. That's all.
And I guess that is a good point.
And I would just say that it would be wise to have her on friendly terms than not.
I trust your judgment, Thomas. But I've already said I will go with the group, whatever you decide.
Well, maybe to make it up to you, brother, we can say the next quest we take on, we will be for sure making sure that it is for good and to help people, as would make you happy, but maybe a bit of money too along the way.
Listen to yourself, brother. My Dolmenwood has changed you.
It's true. I almost had love. Yeah, that's what change a man.
And you say nobody's asked you, Friar. Where is it you would like to go?
Thank you, Thomas. We could just, and he'll kind of be like, "Oh yeah, we could talk about that after." Sure.
I would be interested in hearing more as well, since I too haven't really had much opportunity to discuss that with the group.
I mean, maybe that's something we should all talk about. Is what do each? I don't know that we've thought much about it. We just keep bouncing around. Maybe we should talk about what does each one of us want to do, and how we can help each other achieve such goals.
I think go. There could be evil if we don't go. We don't know enough to make a choice about good or evil or right or wrong at this point. Now we can find out.
So yes, before we waste your time any further, good sir, I guess we should tell you Because he's probably sitting at the table while we're talking about all this
He's
stuff.
having the breakfast and everything, but that old man, that elderly gentleman at the chess game, is like, "Quit talking to that elf over there and get back to the game."
So, a decision? What do we say?
Say go,
Well,
Say we
And-
do it. Yeah.
but not break into the house. I think we go and try and find out more, and perhaps we can even be some of the people carrying things out into the.
yes, but the question would be, we're strangers. What possible reason would there be for the Berkmaster to entrust us with, especially if this is something that is on the down low?
I mean, maybe we could just poise ourselves as incredibly discreet people from out of town that have certain, are burly and can carry stuff and looking for work. I don't know.
Just say we have a cart, and we are looking for work by which we can go ahead and use the cart to supplement our income and look very pitiful at the same time.
We're bodyguards and we're offering our cart to guard.
I think,
Travel.
yes. And Thomas, I think, will probably be the person best able to articulate that.
Oh, there's no question about that. I think Thomas and the Friar are probably our best feet forward, especially since the elf appears, I think, blue and drunken.
Yeah, we have to talk about that because
You're looking rough, bud.
His first voyage out into the land of the mortals. I was thinking about that when he talked about that at the beginning of the session. I was like, oh man, this is your first run, huh? Woo!
This is why the
Yeah.
fairy warn you against going to mortal realms. They're full of wickedness and.
so probably best not to bring Silver with us. So how do we not have him too far away?
I mean, maybe bring him with us, but just like
Sleep in the cart and covered up?
he's, like Lenny, like he's our big guy who's just kind of different. We just kind of don't mind him. I don't know. He's he's good. He's fine. If they look at him, we just say he's fine. He's with us.
I think Sir Thomas will be the best person to come up with a credible reason why we're approaching. And the friar will definitely lend an air of the support of the church to this picture. Not asking you to lie about it, but because it's very possible we are doing the work of the one true God. How would we know?
If our intentions are good, right?
I know, yes.
Well, we can trust.
You. He's gonna look at his brother while he says that. Yeah.
Does it seem that the Berkmaster, is he well liked in town? I ask the I forgot his name.
Oh, he's
Tell,
a
I think.
Sir Tell.
yeah. Sir Tell would just say he's a bit of a maybe pompous man, but I would say that he does his best to try to moderate some of Lord Malbleet's more erratic decisions from affecting people in the town. He's definitely somebody who tries to play the middleman, and he tries to do right by the people. Whether he is successful at that or given credit for that seems to be another matter altogether, but he's got a decent enough reputation.
Do we have any idea where he's recruiting the people to take the stuff out of town from, or would we have to kind of go around town and do some reconnaissance kind of?
Sir Tell would say he doesn't really know who he's been using more recently, if he's been using anybody at all. It may even be that he's using some people from the constabulary to do this, but maybe that's probably what he thinks. He's currently using some people that are a part of the constabulary to do it, but is having to cover for them a little too much. Like he doesn't want it's a little too close to home. He'd rather use strangers, is what he's heard, to keep some degrees of separation from a political rival finding out whatever he's doing.
That bodes a little bit well for us.
Yes. Would it be something, Friar, if this is, well, not, I'm just trying to think of an inn. I mean, I myself would be suspicious if people just showed up and knocked on my door and said, hey, do you have anything, that needs to be hauled? There needs to be something that would be an inn for us.
Only there was a job board in the center of town or something. like that.
Yeah.
Maybe there
Strangers
is.
needed.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But we don't know that there isn't. So maybe we could look and see if there's some sort of a communication about, help wanted. And the fact that you didn't know about it, Sir Tell, might have made you suspicious or seem suspect.
He would say he hasn't seen anything like a job board, but that perhaps going to Harper's Hall, where the Berkmaster, it's both his home and it's his place of doing business. So I mean, you could arrive there and inquire with his staff about jobs, even if you weren't asking for him directly. And he would say that it might be a way to curry some bit of reputation for you to get an invite if you wanted to go a less direct approach.
Right. That's what I was thinking as well. I don't want to share my ideas to help this, but maybe if we ask, maybe he will get to know who we are, right? I mean, I guess we are. I'm not going to say well known, but I mean, the father at the church knew that who I was traveling with. So at least there was some idea of maybe what gets around.
Was that a good thing?
Well, I mean, I didn't. I kind of told him that wasn't his business who I travel with, but that's something.
No wonder this new, you're trying to want us to do things that are good for people. He gave you a ribbon, didn't he?
It gave me a moment to think about what I've done and if I've really done what my purpose is. That's all. And I don't mind. He's gonna just look at them. I don't mind you.
Well, in that comforting thought, maybe we should go ahead and go forward. So maybe we won't be as odd as a group as we think we are, and people might expect us to be coming to look for work.
Yeah, and if we don't directly go for the Berkmaster, right, be so obvious about it, maybe we just go in as guys looking for work, do a job or two, see what happens. We can take it from there, This way we're not being like this guy was, where it was like running and gunning right for the dude, maybe scare him off.
Yeah.
Is it possible that the person in the church, Friar, that knew who you were traveling with would have some communications with the Berkmaster, and you could let him know that we are in town looking for work, and the Berkmaster may then reach out to us?
I don't know how necessarily friendly I am with the father at the moment. I mean, I was respectful, but we didn't, on hugging terms. No, like we're not good friends. So I don't know if that would be our way in.
But I like the idea of sending out the message that we're looking for work. Maybe there are other channels. There's taverns, there's inns, innkeepers, and maybe we just tell several people we're looking for work, and someone there is in the Berkmaster's Meister's network.
Could be something where we find out where the constabulary what watering hole some of the town guards and everything would be at, and we go there and drop those hints around if that is what he's currently utilizing.
Do some schmoozing, so to speak. Maybe play a few rounds of cards, drop some names, talk about our feet.
It wasn't. I think the friar would just look to Sir Tell and say, "It wasn't hard for you to gain an audience with the."
No, it wasn't hard to meet with the Berkmaster. It was just I was a bit clumsy. Maybe I had a bit too much wine the night before, but I was very clumsy in the wording of how I made my request.
Maybe we do go, just not hope, but to get this all over with, maybe we just go to the staff, right? We do just show our interest there because we know that it will get back to this man.
So maybe to help with decision making, I can summarize a couple of the ideas that I heard you say. There's that one on the table of going to the manor and talking with either the staff or the Berkmaster himself to try to get a job. There is trying to maybe curry influence with Father Egwin Dobby of the church here in town, maybe doing some kind of job or, finding a shrine or something that could be recovered and reclaimed, could curry some favor with him to put in a good word. Or the third idea I think I heard you say was to try to work through the constabulary, see if you can find an inn there that you might be able to, I don't know, you use contacts you build with the constabulary to get influence with the Berkmaster.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I think probably the best thing to do, because I mean, nothing says we got to do it right now, right? He's looking for people. He has been looking for people. I say we find out where the constabulary drinks, spend a day, an evening or two. I can play some music, things like that, make myself known. And we just kind of float the idea around with these guys as we're doing this, that we're looking for work. We may not be reached out to, but after a couple of days, then just approach, if we don't hear anything, approach the Berkmeister's manor house or whatever, and just let them know that we are in town. If there's any particular work that they would have available, that we're available, and let them reach out to us. I really think it's probably not good to kind of foist ourselves, but let it be known. If he has work, he'll reach out. That's what I think.
Yeah, I like that idea. It gives us a little time to build a reputation too amongst the the guards and the people in town. Like you said, we can kind of hang out. You could play your song. Sing the songs of us. We'll do some drinking. We'll endear ourselves.
Couple of nights of drinking, yes.
We'll endear ourselves to them, and by the time it comes time for something to be done, I got the perfect person for that. And it's very natural. Plus, I think Geoffrey is in his newfound freedom is feeling a couple nights of partying as well. So.
All right. Is it the idea that you guys want to go with?
I think that works well.
Sure.
That gives us all some opportunity to also, check on some of our own connections or forge some as well. That's more natural matter.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to fast forward a few days, and I'll summarize things that you might learn. So, first thing that we need to figure out is how much it costs. So you've got your cart and such as being stabled for 3 silver pieces a day, and then staying at the inn costs you a bit. Let me just tabulate this up so we got an accounting of how much a day in town is. So lodgings, we'll say these are common lodgings, and are you guys flush enough that you're doing private rooms together or shared rooms, or how do you want to break that out?
We're fairly flush, so how do you guys want to do it? I think we can afford it.
A shared room with 2 beds is 4 silver pieces, or a private room is 8 silver.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's 4 times the cost.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know. Never mind. That doesn't make sense. Yeah. So it's 4 silver per person for a shared room.
4 silver for the room, so 2 beds.
Oh, okay.
So
Never mind.
if you're thinking about it from a per person basis, I guess it's
like 2.
kind of 2, but you got an odd number, so then you'd have an empty bed.
I
I'm
could be
go
in
ahead.
the room with the empty bed, and we could store everybody's gear in there that you want to store in there.
Perfect.
Sounds
Let's
good.
do shared rooms. 3 shared rooms.
So that's 12 silver pieces there, and then meals will be, we will call it 3 silver apiece, so 15. So each night will be basically 30 silver pieces, all in, for everything that you need: lodging, food, and stabling. So first night, who would like to take care of that?
We could take it all off the cart gold,
Yeah.
which I have on my character sheet. So it's what do we say? It's 3 gold pieces a night, basically.
Yeah, basically 3 gold.
Okay, so I pulled off 3 off the character sheet for now.
Cool.
And you're going to try to hang out with the constabulary, maybe ply them with some beers and ciders and whatnot, and try to dredge up some information.
Yeah, I think like Thomas could start playing, sing some songs about what we've done, and I'll spend maybe a little bit of gold on buying some of the higher ups some drinks, thanking them for their service, and then just start talking shop.
Okay. How much money would you like to spend on like a night of carousing basically with the constabulary.
Give me like what's a
I would
what
say
would be good, what would be medium, and what would be top shelf? You know.
I would say you could certainly like a on the cheaper end, maybe like a gold, and maybe on a like a ritzy night would be like 5 gold.
Let's go with the ritzy night. I want to impress these guys.
Okay. So you make some inroads with the constabulary like this first night over at, what was it, the Bogways Tavern and Stables. And you've got Sarge, that goat folk lump, Sarge Groghorn. I want to correct something when I was editing. I think it was like the previous one. I think I said something that was a little extreme. I said that Breggle and I said goat folk was like a slur. I want to like dampen that, and it's not a slur. It's just not proper. Like if you said it to somebody, it wouldn't be like saying an insult to them. They'd just be like, like, this is a person that doesn't know a lot about our culture because they're calling us goat folk. So I don't want it to be like that offensive feel. But the Breggle Sarge is there, as well as Wimsley, the Grimalkin bartender. They're serving the crowds. You're hanging out. You're carousing, and eventually you get to talking with one Sergeant Japser Crumwaller, who is a human. And he'll start. He's taken a liking to you guys and talking to you a bit, and he tells you that there is something that the Berkmaster has failed to deal with, that they're constantly getting reports from the countryside. Like, farmers travel sometimes to Lankshorn and have been complaining about some kind of beast that prowls the night and has been killing off some of their livestock. Their goats and their cows and such have been found slaughtered. And Japser would tell you, that it's just all of these reports are coming from pretty remote in the countryside. It's kind of outside the jurisdiction of the constabulary to go out there and deal with it. But at this point, the Berkmaster hasn't hired a crew or found anybody to deal with it. And like, as you're talking about like looking for work, he's like, it's kind of a little hush hush, I guess. But that might be a good thing to go and inquire about, because he definitely would like to see this thing dealt with. But it's not like super out in the public eye in Lankshorn, because he doesn't want people thinking that there's some roaming beast just out in the countryside that could wander into town.
We could position ourselves as monster hunters.
Yes.
Well-
Is there
And we've certainly killed monsters for other villages before.
I wouldn't mind having a trophy.
is there some way that you could float our names to the higher ups and get word? And perhaps we would hate to think that it was reaching the public, I guess. But
He would say, give him a couple of days, and he could set up like a formal meeting for you to meet with the Berkmaster and some other important people in town to discuss it.
excellent.
And so, let me just take a look at probably had this Dolmenwood thing was not on the screen the entire time. Sorry about that. Anybody was watching. Let me pull up the calendar here. Let's just call it 2 days. So on the 30th of Chisting, you'll have a meeting scheduled with the Berkmaster. He'll meet with you on the 30th of Chisting. And so we can just fast forward right to there, unless there's other business or things that you need to do in these interim days.
Forget what day is our item ready from the guy.
It's gonna be a couple of weeks. I think
weeks.
it was like 5 weeks or something for the next full moon.
For the full moon. Okay.
So you guys make your way kind of into the center of town, and you find yourselves in front of Harper's Hall, which is a tall, lime-white manor beside a shallow lake ringed with storm-racked elms. And you would go and knock at the door and be met by one of the servants of the Berkmaster and of the town. One of the clerks would meet with you. You'd be escorted into kind of like a waiting area for a little bit. You'd probably be there sitting down for maybe about 15 minutes until you were called up. And there's like a thin, very young man, maybe like early 20s, who reaches out to you and says, "Oh, the Berkmaster and the council are waiting." And then you are led into a small chamber where there is like kind of a long table, and there is just like a small group of people here. Number of aging men, one woman, and a tall, plump man of about 50 years age who has very densely curled auburn hair on his head, big chops on the sides of his face. And you're getting the sense that he seems to be the one that's maybe the speaker of this group and is likely Berkmaster Cluid Baldric.
One thing I'd like to throw in here that when we were waiting, I don't know that at this point I am maybe the best person. I'm more of I'm kind of a rapscallion, right? Because we are now talking to aristocracy. I believe the brothers have the clout, I guess, to speak in this particular forum. So I think Sir Geoffrey and Friar, the two of you should probably take point on communicating here.
And as you all are coming in, you've kind of communicated a bit of your strategy of who's going to be the speaker for your group. The head of the table, this red-cheeked man with the mutton chops, stands up and he says, welcome. We are overjoyed to hear. We have heard from our man in the constabulary. Sounds like you all are looking for a bit of dangerous. We do have something that fits that descriptor. Troubles to our good people who live on the periphery, who tend to the fields, who tend to the livestock that brings us our meals and our breakfasts every day. We have need of brave stalwarts such as yourselves. We face a danger that goes far beyond the abilities of simple farmers and our people here in town. Please have a seat. Could we have some refreshments for our esteemed? And there'll be like kind of servants kind of bringing in some tea and things like that, some biscuits for you. And he'll start in and he'll say, I won't beat around the bush. Let's just get right down to business. There have been very terrible things that have been hunting and stalking the livestock of the farmers as of late. The reports are shocking, to say the least. Maybe a bit exaggerated, I'm not sure. I guess you will find out in time, but they say that there is some beast, blood-soaked beast, that dwells near the wood and emerges at night. They've heard wailing in the dark. Frankly, we're at a loss or how to deal with such a foe. We need people. Maybe it's like pointing at Geoffrey's sword. People that are well armed, that have the tools and the know-how to deal with such a thing. We've taken a collection from the town, from all of us. We could pay you maybe 300 gold pieces if you would be willing to drive out whatever this beast is, this monster. Find it and put an end to it. It seems something that you're up for.
It does seem like something that is certainly within our line of work, and as my brother can attest to, we are always in the business of helping the people and doing good for others. Right, brother?
He's gonna kind of just get close and just he'll like, of course, yes, we heard that about this creature and anything to help the good people of this town. And he's gonna like almost like kind of bump into you a bit, like you do that, like
The council members are they trade looks a little bit and they say, well, it is surprising to hear such devotion to our small town. Your names are not known to us, but we welcome any assistance we can. You got a very strong recommendation from Sergeant Crumwaller.
Well, we are still new to the area, but I feel it is me and my companion's duty to help the people and leave a bit of a footprint of good behind us. So that is what we're doing.
This questioning comes a little bit from maybe like the woman that's on the council.
Mm-hmm.
And Berkmaster says, we should not question where their allegiances come from or how they come to us. It is, of course, it is the guidance, perhaps, of the one true God that they come here and find us in our moment of need. And he kind of gives a gesture and like a maybe a little bit of an embarrassed kind of smile, like that someone just like kind of questioned, like, why do you care about the good whatever of our town? And he's like, we are of course very, very grateful for you to be here and to help us with this. The coin, of course, is but just a small token of our appreciation, and you are here called because of a greater powers at work.
If I may
Slight nod.
All of the council members like signed to the one true God. Like any question of like what your motivation might be is
Mhm.
kind of dispelled.
Yeah, I would say the Friar like definitely kind of sees a bit of like the bullshit going on, but he's just kind of just quiet and just nodding.
So, is there any information that you can share with us that can help us to better understand and identify the beasts that we are hunting?
Well, it seems I could share a bit of the reports that I have received. It seems that its primary targets have been sheep, goats, even some cattle have been found dead in their pens and barns. Each has died from... It's sort of strange. It isn't as if these creatures have been devoured or eaten, but they all look as if they have been mauled and pierced by a stab wound, almost as if driven by a spear.
A single stab wound?
Sometimes multiple, but a bit curious. The barns appear to have been broken into by force. The pens often just trampled over, as if something stampeded into them. All these sightings are a bit muddled. There's no consistency between them. Each one has a little bit of a different flavor or tone. So there is some degree of exaggeration here happening, but one traveler recently claimed to have seen a strange stag-like creature bearing armored figures drenched in blood, sometimes being ridden by a ghostly maiden wailing and screaming. Another report suggested a hairy dwarf-like creature with the beast. These sightings have been happening over the course of the better part of the month.
All concentrated in the same area?
Yes, just to the east of here, where the farmlands diminish and turn to the wood. Now, I should say that that area is known to be, the area just beyond the wood is where some burial mounds to the goat folk exist. It could be that this thing maybe is not a beast at all. Maybe some speculate that it could be a haunting from the dead.
Seem to be a common occurrence around here. Do you have any reason why that particular cemetery or that particular barrow would spawn a stag, or this particular apparition? Is it part of your local lore? Is this completely new?
They all just kind of look at each other. We have no idea what this might be.
Well, this is all very helpful, and it will help us decide how we proceed from here.
I wonder if how recent was the last sighting, and is it possible for us to go to that location? Maybe we could then track. Lillibeth is quite adept at the tracking. Perhaps we may be able to follow the beast from there, or determine its nature, whether it is natural or spectral.
So we just got another just this morning from someone coming in, bringing their goods to market, and they said that there was another attack last night near Marrow's farm. Marrow he's a bit gruff, kind of a unpleasant character, but his farm resides right next to the wood. Might be a good person to follow up with. He is but 2 hours east of here, and his name is Ago Marrow.
Seems a good place to start then.
What was attacked at his farm?
He has a goat farm.
Seem like this is discriminating against what it's attacking, unless all of the animal victims were goats. But you said not. This cookie is really excellent. Take a bite of the cookie. Thank you for feeding us. Drink some of it.
One of the older men on the council. I baked them myself.
Amazing.
Oatmeal raisin. I'll give you the recipe.
I would appreciate that. It could certainly liven up our campfire cooking.
Berkmaster Cluid Baldric would say, are there other questions, inquiries, ways we might assist you with this matter?
What is it that you require for proof of completion of this task?
Well, I suppose a week of the cessation of these killings would suffice. They're going on, and it sounds like almost on a every other night basis at this point, so we would welcome even a week of relief would be good, and I think be enough for us to believe that you have killed or slain whatever it is that is out there.
Well, if we kill it, I'll bring back its head.
Should you do so, the taxidermy is on us. You shall have a trophy that should make for a good tales over your hearth.
Yes. As soon as I have a hearth to hang it over, it absolutely will. Thank you.
The person on the council that's like in charge of like real estate and stuff is like, oh, let me know when you decide you've got enough coin to settle down. I got a few places I could show you.
Thank you.
Other questions or things that you want to talk with the council about?
I don't think so.
Other than the cookie recipe, make sure I get that.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my mouth shut because I know that I'm purple and an elf and I sound drunk. So
We were saying when you were off screen that it's quite a first trip into the mortal. Everything Mom and Dad warned you about.
yeah, don't eat the mushrooms. And then I did.
All right.
Yeah. I think we're ready. I think we're all probably going to want to head out to the farm and check out the situation.
Sounds good. As you have heard, most of these killings or attacks are reportedly happen at nighttime. So even though this is kind of like a midday meeting, it's 2 hours away. Like you could certainly make it there in time and have plenty of time probably to either talk with the farmer, investigate the farm, or do these types of things that you might wish to do.
Yeah, we should probably ask. I would love to do that and definitely learn more. I'm very excited.
Sounds good. So, in traveling, you're gonna make it out. You're gonna leave your cart behind and head out there on foot.
I think so.
All
I think
right.
that would be best too.
It's another warm summer's day. As you start to make your way out on foot, you have the beating sun smiling down upon you. You start to make your way through this very pastoral kind of scenery. You're passing by all the different farms. Very like walking through the Shire and Hobbiton kind of feel as you're going over the rolling hills. And you can probably even see some of the farmers out doing kind of their daily chores and such. And eventually you make your way to this destination, this Otto Marrow's farm, which is a single hovel with a thatch roof, sod walls, which awaits at the end of a muddy path. And behind it, you can see some fields. You can see a goat pen, which has a bit of a fence that definitely been recently repaired. Kind of shoddily, but you can see that there has been some attempts to kind of put the ruined fence back up and kind of strap it with some makeshift boards and such, to at least keep the living goats. There do seem to be some living goats yet there in the pen contained. Behind the house, there's a tilled field with the first of new crops kind of poking through the earth. And past that field, the expanse of the wood. There's a thin trail of smoke that rises from the hovel's chimney. It is about dinner time right now, and maybe some sense of some home-cooked food are kind of filling your senses.
Lovely. Let's hope they have something good to eat.
Like we approach the door and just
Yeah, we'll probably want to let
give
them
a
know who we
knock.
are, why we're here.
Yeah.
Let's hail the house and see what happens.
So you go up to like kind of the front. There isn't really a porch. It's just a little stoop and wooden door and knock on that. And a few moments later, door opens and a very gristly looking human male who's just kind of sallow skin, very thin, mustache, mostly his eyes are kind of watery. And he kind of squints as he looks at you. Very tanned skin from laboring out in the fields his entire life. And he looks at you all. Okay. And he shuffles into the door frame and he pulls something out. He's got an iron horseshoe. And he holds it out to the friar. Hold this.
All right. And
You're good. Kind of starts to do this, and then he goes over to Silver. Hold this.
We'll take it.
Are you wearing gloves?
Oh gosh. Am I wearing gloves? How about we roll for it?
You're a fairy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing like plate mail, so I probably have some kind of gauntleted situation going on,
Take
right?
those off.
All right. I'll take
Hold
it
this.
off. I'll hold it.
And he sees like your skin starts to burn, right? Like as you're making contact with the iron. And he's looking at it, he's like,
Oh, dang, iron. I forgot. And my hand is purple. I mean, like it's like there's It's not a lot of good things going on here. Ooh, that's a nasty trick.
Get
It's
off
okay.
of my property.
It's okay, friend. He can be trusted. He is with us.
I don't know you. He's a fairy.
Yes.
We were sent by the Berkmaster, and
What's the D&D equivalent of like a shotgun?
It's one of those big rakes or
Yeah.
a pitchfork,
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
he grabs a pitchfork and he's like, "What?" Like swinging it. Like, get off of my property.
I'll jump back a little bit and say, listen. I'm happy to go, but I happen to be a renowned monster hunter, and sometimes the enemy of your enemy is your friend.
I don't go by that logic. All I knows is all fairy are evil.
I'll just look at the rest of the party and just kind of like shrug and say, well, I guess I'll go grab a pint and meet you later.
You're gonna
I'll say, you can see I am a knight, and this is my brother. He is a representative of the one true God. And as the fairy has said, as the elf has said, sometimes you need a monster to find a monster. And so the church, the power to work with this fairy to hunt down evil monsters, and that's what we are here to do for you, sir. You do not want to turn us away. You want our help. I
All
promise.
right. Fancy lad, I've heard a lot. You don't have to shout at me. I want to hear it from the friar himself.
Oh. Hello. What would you like to hear? What do you need me to say?
Not
I mean-
that.
No kidding. I'm kidding with you. No, he's yes, it must be the one true God who brought us this here fellow.
The
He has
hell
been-
is that? The circus is rolling into town. I've got a fairy. I got a carnival barker over here trying to sell me on this, and a friar who seems to be lost a bit of his conviction.
good sir.
Do you need help?
I've
We're
got
here
enough
to help you.
problems. I got a beast that destroyed half of my flock over here.
That is why we are here to help
sure,
you.
you're here to help me.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were
are.
sent by the Berkmaster and the council.
Oh, the Berkmaster decided to get off his ass and do something. We've been telling him for over a month about this, and this is what he sends.
How many goats did you lose?
I lost about 12 last night.
Last
What is the average cost of a goat if you were to sell it?
That is a good question.
cost.
I don't know. I
Why
guess
don't you,
I guess
how
what's
much
a
is
horse? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's like the thing to kind of compare, right?
Half a horse.
Half. That's what I was thinking.
Half a
Less
horse?
than half a horse.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it'd be less than that.
Like
A
a
quarter
third.
a horse.
A horse you get years of use out of.
That's true.
Yeah. A goat you grow to eat, basically.
Let's say 30 gold
Per horse or per goat or total?
per goat.
Oh,
Ooh,
my goodness.
Wow.
Well,
Those are-
I think we need to start a goat farm.
Well, if we want to start a goat farm, we're going to still have to kill this monster.
It's a glamorous
Oh,
they killed a
lifestyle
man.
until a beast comes and kills all your product.
Yeah. So I'm a hunter, and specifically, I want to hunt your beast.
oh,
Well, that's the most sensible thing I've heard from this lot of the entire time you've been standing here. They've ever
Well-
dealt in the supernatural?
Well, of course, and I point to Silver a little bit.
I bow.
actually, we've got quite a lot of experience with ghosts and the supernatural. So yes, I got the sword from a ghost.
All right.
Point where it's like, okay, cool. All right.
Very well.
Well, I
So
hope
am I.
you're. You seem to be well equipped. I don't really like this elf thing, and I think the friar. Been a while since you read the good book, isn't it, son? Just agree with me. That's fine. I'll tell you a bit
Dude,
about what
We
we're.
can't wait to help you.
Don't do it for me, do it for the goats. This thing, big. Eyes that burn red in the dark. Cloven hoof. I've seen evidence of it in my pen there. It ruined me pen, my fence. I have spent the better part of the day repairing that. I've seen it here from my home, tearing away at the things. Gone by a day. Soon as the sun crested up over the hills, poof, it was gone.
Like literally gone, as in standing there one moment and gone the next, or retreating.
Flew. It took flight and headed into
Yeah.
them there woods.
it took flight.
He points, he gestures to under your feet. You can see there's like a ring of salt in front of his house. Says, my charms have been keeping me safe, but I can't protect my herd. There ain't enough salt in the world to keep that thing out of there.
From this description, would I be able to do my monster lore check?
Sure.
Okay, tell here. 2 and 6 chance. That's a 6, so no.
All of the details are just a little too muddied. You've got lots of conflicting information.
Do you still have any of the tracks so that I can take a look just at the area where it was?
Well, sure. He kind of like gives wide berth to Silver. And he's still holding like his horseshoe, and he's like, "Oh, I have to get a new horseshoe now."
Is it no?
He moves out to his pen, and he'll start to point it out. And you could see, like, yeah, there's these large hoof prints that couldn't possibly be from the goat that have like kind of trampled all around in the pen. There's still the bodies of the dead goats that he's kind of piled up in a corner to deal with at some point.
What type of injuries do we see on the goats that are piled up in the corner? Does it look like they were killed through like bludgeoning, cutting, slicing, biting? Does it look like they've been eaten at all, missing?
Piercing holes. Like they've just been stabbed repeatedly.
With a single sort of stabbing thing, not multiple pronged stabbing thing.
Yes.
Okay.
And is there any evidence of them being like the guts being pulled out, eaten, parts being missing, so that it would be assumed that they could be, or no?
There is some gore, like the entrails being pulled out and such, but not like devouring, like
mutilation.
Like mutilation, but not feeding. Like you don't see teeth
Right.
marks.
Did he say it was...
Say that like that's not super consistent with a beast.
It was a crime of passion.
So-
did he say 4 or 2 legs?
4 legs.
4 legs and cloven hooves.
Yeah.
Wings.
That's what I want to check. What is the ground around this pen? Is it hard or is it soft?
It's a lot of manure and such, so I'd say soft.
But it's been about what, 12 hours? Less, more.
More than 12 hours, I guess.
Okay.
Well, less. Sorry.
Less than 12 hours. Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't try and track to see where it went, in what direction it went.
So
Where it came
even
from?
without doing a roll, like
Mhm.
the tracks appear and then they disappear, which seems consistent with his story that this thing can fly.
Okay.
Or that it's spectral.
The hooves are basically within the pen and just outside the pen. And they
Then they're gone. So it
Yep.
sort of like almost appeared in the pen and then was gone.
actually peered outside the pen and charged into the fence.
Into the
like,
pen,
Like
yeah.
even though it could fly maybe directly in, decided to
Charge.
and destroy a bit of the property.
So we've heard rumors of burial grounds in the surrounding wood. Can you tell us more about what is in the wood and maybe in the area that this creature returned to?
He points at Silver. Things like that are over there in them mounds. Things from fairy,
So it's a
There's
fairy.
elves.
maybe. I think so.
Has a fairy creature harmed you before?
Look,
sir?
my grandpappy, he tell me about fairy
Oh.
and how they put a curse. There was a famine like you wouldn't believe when he was a young boy, and it was because of a fairy curse.
That's possible.
And since then, my father taught me about how to ward yourself from things. And look, it's all falling apart now. Look, at first my goats are all dead, and now I got a purple elf that's drunk and pissing all over the place.
Hold on, I haven't.
That seems
Hole. Is there a certain place? There is a designated spot for that.
that corner over there. So yeah, there's a family history of prejudice against fairy, clearly with this guy. He would tell you he speculates that this thing is coming from one of them mounds. He says some of them are for the goat folk are buried there, but some of them, I've heard, contain pathways into fairy.
We've sort of experienced that in the past.
Are there any Droon nearby?
Oh boy.
Picture him like drooling and slobbering
Oh,
like a rabid dog.
Now you gotta use the word.
Yeah, you'll get 10 minutes of like Droon are evil and they'll kidnap your babies and
Given probably 2/3 of that is really true, but are there any that you know of nearby, or is that just the general
I don't
sentiment?
know of any nearby, and if I ever see one,
You'd know it if you saw one.
I know where I'm putting my pitchfork.
That would probably be a good idea, as long as it doesn't. Well, anyway, yes. Okay, so
If you help me with this, I'll take you out there. I have an idea. I think I know which mound it is that it's coming from.
oh, what makes you so positive? I mean, I'll take you up on your offer. That's really, 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 really kind, and I'm very anxious to get out there and take a look.
There's one mound out there that my grandpappy told me, don't go near this place. It's known, he's seen elves come from it when he was a boy, and it's haunted.
Sounds like a pretty good first look.
What
Um,
what kind of elves do they?
Kind. No purple elf. Maybe,
Blue.
no, they're fair-skinned,
Okay.
glowy eyes. He always talked about their glowy eyes. Pierce right through the darkness. Steal your soul if it's spotted you. Hey, don't look at me.
I really wish I wasn't too drunk to use my glamour.
I mean, technically, you're not really drunk, right? Can
Yeah.
you use?
Yeah, but it appears drunken.
it gets worse as he
It
uses.
gets worse. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to all of us after we dispatch this beast to maybe we could have a meal together and talk more. That would be lovely, wouldn't it, everyone? Oh, we would love to. Yeah, it would be great. After we dispatch this beast, maybe we could share in some goat milk and tell stories around your fire for a good night's sleep. Ah, that would be wonderful.
I
Sounds
guess.
wonderful.
So where are we going to sleep?
You're gonna stay awake, is what you're gonna do if you're gonna slay the beast.
But we've been traveling all night, so at least we could, some of us, sleep and take a guard. I mean, where would we be able to best observe other than in your stables? I guess in your stables, but there's no goats here now. And
There's a few goats. There's still a few goats.
there's a few goats?
that are
Okay.
left. Yeah.
There are a few goats, then this is probably where we need to stay, but someplace, maybe we can put some straw down on the manure. Are you guys okay with
No,
Mm.
no.
No, yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
The old farmer just like does not care about this question, and he goes back to his house and closes the door and goes.
Oh, can I have the pitchfork, please? We can take some hay and put it in the manure.
Get your own pitchfork.
Oh, we don't.
This one's for stinking elves.
And I think that's probably a great spot to call it a close with you on the heels of making a decision about how you want to tackle this problem. So-
Lying down in manure is where we end.
Well, but
Oh,
hands,
oh,
we can put
yeah.
hay on it.
Right.
It just won't be as good if we had a pitchfork.
a little bit of a condensed session, so thanks guys for helping us to jumpstart another wild adventure, I'm sure, back in Dolmenwood. So yeah, thanks guys. Let's do a little bit of appreciation. Let's kind of go around the table and let somebody know something that they did that enhanced the experience for you.
All right. I think I'll start off with giving appreciation. I kind of joked about it in the chat earlier, but since I guess it's topical, I'm going to give thanks to Gavin for writing such a wonderful adventure for us to play, because so far it's been nothing but great. And you kind of gave a bit of praise on that chat that you had earlier. And watching it was, I mean, I guess thank you too, Alex, for putting that together. Just that in general, it was amazing. It was a great way to start this game. So it was very fun, and it just makes me even, I mean, I was already invested in the story, but just listening to the creator, the person that wrote it, talk about it, really just kind of that sense of awe and that special feeling really kind of sticks. So it's very happy that we get to participate in this.
Yeah, that's cool. I agree with that. I wasn't going to do that, but that's a good, definitely a good push, or good. What do we call this again? Appreciation, gratitude. So support that. I will give mine out. I was thinking, I was kind of between Thomas and Geoffrey. I just thought Thomas did a good job with kind of like role playing his character as not like I'll go with Thomas. Role playing his character as not the typical bard. not your typical minstrel, and accepting that he's more rapscallion type. That was a cool character development moment and a neat way of like giving some spotlight over to Geoffrey and the Friar. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw my appreciation out to Isaac. I really liked the point in the story where your character said, "Well, nobody asked me what I wanted," and I just, man, it felt so real. It felt so from your character, and yeah, I really appreciated that. It really brought the session home for me.
Yeah, I'm going to first of all agree wholeheartedly with the thanks and gratitude to Gavin and to Alex for involving us in this creative effort in the way that we have been involved. I feel honored, and really this is just a really fun world to play around in. And then on the level of our gameplay today, we had some of those moments. So that one was one of those moments. And then I want to give appreciation to Ryan for his moment of just being the carnival barker that he was, and sort of like making that case to get the farmer to at least go, what? So wonderful.
Thank you.
And I will throw it out to Isaac and Ryan. Isaac, it was good to have you back and see the brother interaction. I always enjoy that. So, and then I'll throw my fifth in for the interview with Gavin. That was very nice.
Yeah, you mean that you don't have all this stuff planned? You're not an evil genius?
No,
Right.
I won't take credit for that. So thank you guys. Thank you guys, as you kind of heard in the interview. About a year ago, I heard about Dolmenwood and was like, man, I want to do that. I wonder if I could find some people that I could convince to play in a rule set that they're unfamiliar with, and maybe try something different. And not that you're all wholly unfamiliar with like old school essentials and old OSR gaming, but it's always been, it's sort of like where I really enjoy and I think thrive in my games is when I'm playing like kind of those more simpler rule sets with a lot of like a big canvas to like have whatever story play out. And this has definitely like kind of shaped up and played out the way it sort of felt when I was hearing other people play it, where it was like limitless adventure. You don't know. It frees me from having to create a plot, and it allows me to just like, here are the puzzle pieces to kind of throw at them and you guys, and you've helped to create this is a story that I think is really working in terms of the characters and the things that you're doing. There are a lot of elements that we have pulled from the Dolmenwood material that are like on the table, and then it feels intentional when you grab one of those puzzle pieces and bring it in. So thanks for being along with me on this. So anybody,
and I mean, I will just say that one of the things that I really like about the old school as opposed to more of your mechanics driven games is you really need to, your creativity and everything needs to come out, because your tricks, the things you can pull from your bat belt to do stuff are few and far between. So it really is using your imagination. I mean, and that's one of the things that, got me into D&D 39 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
So I very much enjoy that style of play. So,
well, we got much more to come, and be sure to check out the Dolmenwood Kickstarter. That'll be happening August 9th. And so this is kind of our last game before that goes live. So definitely be sure to check that out. If you didn't get to check out the interview with Gavin, I'll be putting that up on our YouTube channel here sometime this week. So definitely go and check that out. And listen to the part about all of the cool things that are going to be coming out. A vinyl record, a soundtrack for Dolmenwood, miniatures, the cloth map. Like, I think he said the cloth map was maybe an exclusive if you backed like in the first 48 hours. I think that's what he said. So don't miss out on that, because I've definitely got some space on my wall here where that sucker is going to go. So check all that out. So with that, I think we're going to call it a day, and we will be back 2 weeks from now. All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you.